This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the ORM feature, and we have discussed what exactly the ORM and what is the use, and then how the ORM transforms each and every object in the form of a class, and how it is representing each and every field in the form of a variable, and what are the various and methods it will provide internally. We have discussed in the last session. Yeah. So now let's see how can we manage the records inside this object through programming right now. Let's see. So that already we have discussed. Whenever I'm creating an object in Salesforce, so Salesforce is preparing three layers. First one, it is creating the table, it is preparing a tab, and it is preparing a business logic class. That class name should be exactly same like as your thinking. Whatever the name that are given for your object, with the same name it is creating a class also. And inside this object, whatever the fields that we have, every field will be representing in the form of a field. Now, then what is the use of this class? And what is the use of this class? This class is used to interact with that object. By using this class, by using this business logic class, we can able to interact with that respective object. Okay. So with the help of this class, we can interact with that respective object. Then how can we interact? Now let's see over here. Now, so before that, I will be giving this information to you over here. Like as, so whatever the object name, what is the class name, I will give you that list of notification. Make it. Each Salesforce object will be represented in the form of a class as below. I'm indicating the object name and the business logic class name. What exactly the object name, what exactly the business logic class name? Now let's see. My object name is account, that has contact, opportunity, lead, campaign, case, solution, order, user. Like that, we are having some custom objects also. Position __ C, customer __ C, branch __ C. Like that, I'm having so many custom objects also. So each and every object will be represented in the form of a class. So what is that class name? Now let me explain. What is the business logic class name? The business logic class name and your object name will be exactly similar. So whatever the name that we have for your object, with the same name, it is creating a business logic class also. So whatever the name that we have for your object, with the same name, it is creating the business logic class also. Now what we can do with these classes here? By using this class, we can interact with these objects. Now I'm giving the notepad. By using these business logic classes, we can interact with the associated objects, and we can manage the records inside the object. So whatever the class has been given by Salesforce, with the help of those class, we can interact with that Salesforce object and we can manage the records as well. And then, so we can perform all the DML operations on the object records. We can perform all the DML operations on those object records with the help of these classes. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, so in this case, what we can do? Now let me explain simple concept. Okay, now let me explain simple concept. So Salesforce has given a business logic class. What is that class name here? Account. For this class is used to interact with account object over here. And then we have a class with the name case. By using this case class, we can interact with that case object over here. We can insert the case record, we can modify the case records, we can delete the case records, we can view the case records, we can perform all the operations. So we can perform all the operations on this object records with the help of these classes. Then how can we do that here? Now let me explain practically. Now for example, let me tell you. So this is the business logic class has been given by Salesforce. These classes are given by Salesforce here. These classes have been given by Salesforce. Now, so in this case, by using this account class, what we can do, we can interact with that account object. That means we can interact with account table. So upon creating the account record, we need to pass some values, right? Yes. Name value, rating value, industry, annual revenue, phone number and fax number, billing address, shipping address, like that. We need to pass some value and then we can save that. So how can we interact with those fields? By using this variables. Yeah. Okay, by using this variables, we can. So whenever if you want to create an account record, we are using the help of this class. So we need to supply the value for name field, rating field, industry, phone, fax, website, everything. If you want to pass a value for this variable, we have to access this variable, right? Yes. If you want to access the variable of this class, we need to create an object, right? Yes. So create an object of this class. Create the object of this class and then pass the value for each and every variable and then insert the record by using insert statement. Simple. Now, in this case, how can we do that? Now, let's see practical. Now, in this case, creating records inside the object. How to create the records inside the object? Now, let me explain over here. Now, in this case, upon creating the records inside the object, through programming, we have to follow the below steps. The entire Salesforce development, we are following the same concept, no change. Now, what we can do as a step one, create the object of the associated class. Create the object of the associated class. Now, for example, how can we do that? I'm creating the object of the account class. Account is equals to new. I'm creating the object of this account class because I want to create account record. So through this account class, I'm going to interact with the account object. As a step two, supply the values for the required fields inside the object. Supply the value. I want to supply the values. What upon creating the account record, there are some mandatory fields are there. Like as name is a mandatory, and then active status we made it as mandatory, and then phone number we have made it as mandatory through validations, so many things. So in this case here, we have to pass the value for the name field. How to pass? We have to pass the value. You can assign the value for name variable here. Assign the value for rating variable, industry variable, phone, fax, website, type, everything. Now, so we have to assign the values over here. Then how to access this variable is by creating the object of the class. So we have created the object. How to access this each and every variable? Now let's see. Here CC dot name. I'm assigning the value here. Name is a string type. So I'm assigning the value by enclosing with single quote. I'm indicating like as Apex test account. ACC dot rating like as hard. ACC dot industry. Some finance. ACC dot annual revenue. Some 41 lakhs. ACC dot type. I'm indicating like as some prospect. ACC dot customer priority. Customer priority is the custom field. I'm indicating high. ACC dot active status. I'm indicating this. Pass the values for these fields, and then as a step 3, once the values has been supplied, then insert the record by using insert statement. Then how can we do that here? We are going to be inserting the record. Insert this. I'm inserting the record. That's it. Over. Simple. Create the object. If you want to create the account record, then create the object of the account class, supply the values for these mandatory fields. So here you can raise a question. Sir, in my object, name is a mandatory field, remaining all optional. So do we need to supply all? No. Just you can pass name value. You can use insert statement. That's it. That whatever the mandatory fields are available, for those mandatory fields, supply the value. Remaining fields you can leave it, no problem. And once the record has been inserted, then how can we get the confirmation over here? Step 4. Get the confirmation of the record insertion. Then how do we know whether the record is inserted or not? If the record is inserted, it will be providing the record ID, right? Yes, so that I would like to verify. If ACC.ID, that means I'm collecting the ID of the record here. If the ID value not equals to null, then I want to show the error message here. So I want to show the confirmation message system.debug account record inserted successfully. With ID, I want to show the account record ID. How can we show ACC.ID? That's over. This is how we are creating the record. Simple concept. Simply create the object of the class, assign the values for the fields, insert the record by using insert statement. That's it. Over. And then display the confirmation. Displaying the confirmation is optional. If you want, you can display, or else you can leave it. No problem. So these are the 4 simple steps we have to follow upon creating the record through programming. As of now, we have created the record by using user interface. We are going to the tab, click on new button, enter the values, click on save, record will be inserted. How it is saving the record internally? Because of this business logic over here. Because of this business logic. So behind the screen, Salesforce is preparing a business logic class, right? In the business logic class, it is going to be having the business logic inside that, so which will be inserting the record inside the object. So like the similar way, through programming also we can insert the records inside your object. Already you know how to insert the records by using data loader also. During that configuration concept we have discussed data loader also, and then by using page layout also we are able to insert the record. But now we are inserting through programming by using Apex program. So now let's see how can we create the record inside this object. Simple concept. Suppose if you want to create the record inside the lead object, create the object of lead class, supply the values, insert the record, and then get the ID of the record by using if condition. That's a simple concept. These are the 4 simple steps we have to follow. Now let's see the practical part. How can we do that? We'll see the practical concept over here. Now, let's see the practical part. Take a use case. Write an Apex program to insert an account record inside that object. I want to insert an account record inside this object here. Then how can we insert the account record? Now let's see practically in this case. Let me write this piece of code. I'm going to the execute anonymous window. So I'm going to the execute anonymous window. Now, so I want to create the object of the class. So now, in which object you want to insert the record? Account object. Account object is having what class? Account class. So create the object of that account class. How to create the object of the account class? Class name, object name. What is that object name? You can give any name. S is equals to new account. So I'm creating the object of this account class. Once the object has been getting created, then what we need to do? Supply the values. So supply the values for the field. How to supply the values? Subject name dot variable name. That means field name. SEC dot name. I'm indicating like some Apex account record. You can give any name: Ram Kumar, Paramesh Kumar, Shravan Kumar, anything. SEC dot rating. Object name dot field name. That's it. So now in this case, SEC dot rating. I'm indicating high. SEC dot industry. I'm indicating like some chemicals. SEC dot annual revenue. Some 51 lakhs. SEC dot type. I'm indicating prospect. SEC dot ownership. I'm indicating like some public. SEC dot phone. I'm passing the value. SEC dot fax. I'm giving some value. SEC dot website. SEC dot customer priority. And then SEC dot active status. And then once you have supplied the values, then we can insert the record. How to insert the record? By using insert statement. Insert is. Once the record is inserted, then how can we print the result? How can we do that? I'm verifying this. If ACC dot, that means whenever I'm inserting the record, Salesforce is generating what? ID. I'm collecting the ID value. How to get the ID? So then we have to use object name dot variable name. If ID is not equals to null, that means ID has been generated. Then I want to show the message system.debug account record ID is. I want to show that SEC.ID. So account record created successfully. Created successfully with ID. I'm indicating ID of the account. This is how we are going to interact. So we are using the account class, create the object of this class, and then supply the value for the fields by using object name dot variable name, and then insert the record by using insert statement. which is used to insert the record inside your object. Now, so let's execute this one. Click on execute button. My request has been sent to the server. It is creating an account record. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating account record created successfully with ID. This is the ID has been generated by Salesforce for my account record. So account record has been created successfully. Now, let me verify. Go to the accounts tab. Open the record, Apex account record. This is the record which we have created right now through programming. Whatever the values we have supplied, all the values are available over here. Like a type value, industry, annual revenue, rating, phone, fax, website, ownership, and then you have supplied the customer priority, active status, everything we have supplied. With that one, it has created the record inside this. This is how we are going to be creating the record inside the object through. This is the way we are going to be creating the record inside the subject. Let me place this code. I'm writing this code in execute anonymous window. I'm giving the notified for your confirmation. We are writing this code in the execute anonymous window. Like the similar way, write one more program. I'm giving that one more use case. Write an Apex program to insert a lead record inside the object. Write an Apex program to insert a lead record inside the object. So now tell me in this case, which class object we need to create now? We need to create the object for lead class because lead class is used to interact with the lead table. So create the object of the lead class. How can we create the object of the lead class? Now let me give the step-by-step implementation. Object of the lead class. I'm creating the object. Lead, some LD equals to new lead. You can give any name for the object. Must supply the values. Supply the value for the fields. Suppose if you don't know what are all the columns are available inside my lead class or the lead object, then simple steps. Just you can go to that lead object here. Go to the view fields. That's it, simple. These are the field names. These are the field names for whom we are supplying the values. LD dot address, LD dot annual revenue, LD dot campaign, LD dot clean status, LD dot company, LD dot jigsaw, LD dot description, LD dot email, LD dot fax, LD dot industry. Like that, we can supply the value. That's it. No need to type that one. Just you can copy from here, paste over there. That's it. Simple concept. Now, so supply the value for the fields. How can we supply? LD dot first name of the lead. I'm indicating like some version. LD dot last name. I'm indicating like as Kumar. LD dot company. I'm giving like as some IBM. LD dot status, lead status. I'm indicating like as open, not contacted. LD.status equals to open, not contacted. LD.rating equals to some heart. LD.industry, I'm indicating some bank. LD.annual revenue, I'm indicating like some 19 lakhs. LD.phone, LD.fax, LD.email, lead person's email ID. I'm indicating roshan@gmail.com. LD.city, like some Hyderabad. LD.state, I'm giving some Telangana. LD.country, I'm giving the SME. Once I'm supplying the values for these fields, do we have any other mandatory fields? Let's see. When you go to the lead object, what other mandatory fields are there? Do we have any other mandatory fields? No, nothing. No. I'm indicating LD.title, nothing but designation. He is a sales manager. Once we have supplied, then insert the record here. Insert the lead record. I'm using insert. Print the result. How can we print? I'm indicating if LD.id not equals to null. That means that the lead record ID not equals to null. Then I want to show the message system.debug. LD. So lead record inserted with ID. I would like to show the lead record ID, which has been generated by Salesforce. So whenever a record has been created successfully, Salesforce is going to be generating the ID. So that ID, based on the ID, we can get the confirmation whether our record has been created successfully. Now, so now let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. My request has been sent to the server. Let's go to the debug log file. It is loading the debug log file still. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating that lead record inserted with ID. This is the ID of the lead record, which always starts with a 00Q. This is the lead record ID which has been given by Salesforce by default. Now, okay, this is the way we are going to be inserting the records inside your object. Simple concept. Create the object of that class and then assign the values for each and every variable inside the record. Print the results. That's it. Simple concept. Nothing else.
Firoz,
Yes.
can we do the same on Apex Plus or not?
Sorry.
By not using execute anonymous window, by using Apex Plus, can we do that?
Apex class in a sense.
You are executed now in execute anonymous window, right? but not using this one. By using Apex class, we can execute this one or not?
No. We can't execute from there here. We can write this code inside the Apex class and we can execute from anonymous window. Execution should be always done from anonymous window, not from the Apex class. Okay. Now let me place this code. Next, write one more small program over. For example, assume that I'm having an object called as some hiring manager. Let me customize my tabs over here. I don't want candidates, patients, solutions, all these things. I want hiring manager. So click on this hiring manager object. Click on new button. How many fields are there? Here we are having 4 fields. Name field is there, location, contact number, email ID. 4 fields are available. These are the fields are available inside my account object. Now I want to create the record inside this table through program. Now I want to create the new hiring manager record inside this object through program. How can we do that now? So create the object of this class. Simple concept. How to do that, I will show you. Now, let's go to the view fields of hiring manager. Here only you can see that. So now you are having the class name. What is the class name? Hiring manager underscore underscore C. So create the object of this class. So create the object of this class. Create the object of the class. What is this object here? What is the class over here? Basically, this is hiring manager. Hiring manager underscore underscore C. Some HR equals to new hiring manager. I'm creating the object of this class over here. Now, so I'm creating the object of this hiring manager class. And then supply the values. How can we supply the values? You can specify HR.name. Name field is common. What is the name? I'm going to be indicating like some Anas Siddiqui. Anas Siddiqui. I'm passing this name. HR dot next field. What is the next field over here? Here we can see the field names here. Simply you can copy and paste. This is the field. Double click on this one. Copy and then paste it here. Simple concept. Paste it. I'm giving the value some Bangalore. HR dot, what is the next field over here? Email ID. Copy this one, paste it. I'm indicating some Anas @ some gmail.com. What is the next field? HR dot contact number. This is the contact number field. Copy and paste. I'm indicating the value. So now these are the fields are available. We have supplied the value for all the fields. Name field, and we have supplied the location field, email ID, and the contact number. So these are the fields for whom I have supplied the values. And then we need to insert the record. Insert HR. And then display the confirmation. If HR.id not equals to null. That means if the HR record ID value is not null, that means ID has been generated. That means record is inserted. Now I want to show the message. Hiring manager record ID is HR.id. So I have created the object of this hiring manager class, and then I have supplied the values for the fields. I have inserted the record, and then I'm able to display the result also. Now, these are the 4 simple steps we have to follow always upon creating the record inside the object through program. Now, so let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. My request has been sent to the server. So now I'm able to see these record values. Select the debug only checkbox. Hiring manager ID is the ID of the hiring manager. So hiring manager record has been inserted successfully.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
How does the system know this is the record that needs to retrieve?
This is the record. It has to insert.
We have
We are
inserted.
Yes.
But in the system debug, how does the system know this is the specific record that needs to be output? Because that object may have different records.
Now, in this case here, observe this one. Here, this is the HR, this is the object name. This object is holding this record confirmation. That means ID. So we are collecting this HR record ID. HR means what? This current records ID. Whatever the ID has been generated because we have inserted the record. So once the record is inserted, Salesforce will be allocating the ID. So now please give me the ID of that record which has been generated by Salesforce so that I will get the client confirmation whether the record has been created successfully or not. Okay. So for that reason, here we are going to be using this HR. This is the current object which we have prepared for this class. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now, the next one. Let me show you one more example. Write an Apex program to insert a case record inside the object. I want to create a case record. Then how can we create the case record? Now let's see practically in this case. So whenever if you want to interact with the case object or the case table, which class we have to use? We have to use case class. We have to use case class. So create the object of the case class. Case some CS equals to new case. Case some CS equals to new case. And then we have to supply the value for each and every field inside this case object. Like a CS dot status. I'm indicating new. CS dot priority. I'm giving high. CS dot origin. I'm indicating like a through phone. By making a call to the customer care, I have raised that case so that I'm indicating the origin called as phone. CS dot reason. What is the reason of this case here? I'm indicating this is a mechanical problem. CS dot, sorry, this is the type. And the reason. Reason is performance breakdown. That means performance. And the CS dot subject. What is the subject of the case? I'm indicating I'm unable to connect to Bluetooth with my laptop. I'm indicating the case description. I'm indicating because the dear customer support, I'm indicating plus symbol and I'm writing that the remaining content in the next line. Dear customer support, my recently purchased laptop device is unable to connect through the Bluetooth device. Please have a look into the issue. And resolve as soon as possible. I'm indicating thanks. Some Ramesh Kumar. I'm indicating my name over here like this. Now, I'm indicating the case status, case priority, case origin, case type, case reason, case subject, and the case description. I'm indicating all this information inside my object. I'm indicating all this information inside my object. Once all the values have been getting supplied, then we can able to insert the case record. Insert CS. Then we can show the confirmation. If CS dot ID not equals to null, then I want to show that. System dot debug case registered successfully with the ID CS dot ID. So now here I'm displaying the confirmation message. I'm displaying the confirmation message. So I'm creating a new case record inside my case object. So create the object of the case class and then supply the values for the fields for whom we need to supply the values, like as status field, origin, reason, type, priority, subject, description. I'm passing the values over here. And then insert the case record. Now click on execute button. Here I'm indicating that CS dot. CS. Click on execute button. My request has been sent to the server. It will be creating a new case record inside my case object. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating the case record has been registered successfully with the ID. This is the ID code. So when you go to the case object, also we can verify. Go to the cases tab. What is the case subject tab 500? Now we can see that. What were the case that you have created? So what is the description of this case? What is the subject of the case we have given over here? My subject is I'm unable to connect to Bluetooth through my laptop. Verify the subject. Now it is indicating that I'm unable to connect to the Bluetooth via my laptop. We can see the case information. Go to the details tab. We can see here is the case number has been generated by Salesforce. This is the reference ID. Type of the case, reason, date, time open, status, priority, origin, subject, description. Everything has been getting placed inside my record. This is how we are going to be interacting with the objects through programming, and we can insert the record inside this object. Now, let me place this code. Now, this is how we are going to be interacting with the object, and we can insert the records inside your objects as well. Now, let me give you the examples.
Feroz, I have one question here.
Yes.
So what happens if I choose the incorrect value for pick list fields while inserting the record?
Yeah, in this case. In this case, two options are available. Okay, now let me explain the first option. So upon creating the pick list field, I have given some properties. Okay, I have given few properties. Let me show you that. Upon giving this a fields, I have given some few properties. For each and every field, will be having some set of properties are available.
Okay.
See, when you go to the pick list, see. So here we have discussed about the properties. So upon creating this pick list field, if the last checkbox has been selected, okay, because we stick the pick list values based on value set. That means here through programming we are restricting that. If this checkbox has been selected, then okay, you have to supply the same value inside that field through program. If you are passing some wrong value, okay, in that pick list, for example, it is a rating field. Assume that we have three options: hard, warm, cold. Suppose if I'm passing like as burning, another option, or cool, I'm passing some value. At that time, it won't accept, because if the checkbox is selected, then at that time here, Salesforce won't allow you to insert the record which is having some wrong values. Whatever the values are there inside the pick list, same values you have to supply, or else the record cannot be acceptable. The record will be completely aborted. If this checkbox is not selected, then whatever the value you want, you can give that value here. Automatically, it will be saving the record as it is. Okay,
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
So let me give you the example.
More question. While okay, sir.
Now the first is write an Apex program to insert the contact inside the object. Write an Apex program to insert a contact record inside the object. Next. Next. The second one. Write an Apex program to insert an opportunity record inside the object. Write an Apex program to insert an opportunity record inside the object. Third one. Write an Apex program to insert the position record inside the object with the Bangalore location. So what it means over here, upon creating this position record, we have to supply the values, and then at that time we have to give the location value as Bangalore. Now, next, write an Apex program to insert a candidate record inside the object with the notice period immediate. With the notice period, this is the fourth requirement. Fifth one. Write an Apex program to insert a high priority case record. With in progress status or working status. With the working status. That means upon creating the case record, we have to give the priority as high and then status as working. Write an Apex program to insert the Bangalore city lead with manufacturing industry. And with 56 lakhs as a revenue. So upon creating this lead record, we have to supply the city as Bangalore and the industry as manufacturing and annual revenue value as 56 lakhs. These are the 6 assignments over here. So now try these 6 assignments today, and then in the next session I will show you some more examples how to insert the bulk records, how to insert the related records. I'm winding up the session a bit early today because of today is our festival, so that here I have taken that session for 1 hour. So the next session will be having the continuation as it is. Okay.
Sir, one question.